Having car battery problems? You can do it yourself.
Don't worry, sweetie. Daddy's got this.
Call or book online at 1-800-BATTERY. We come to you.
All right. Well, for those of you who didn't recognize that, we did not suddenly get sponsored by 1-800-BATTERY.
New users can now
As
get
opposed to
NFL's
that, the next best thing, we have the actor who prominently featured in that commercial, Mr. Rob Gill, on the show this week. So, welcome to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. It is September 23rd, 2025. This is episode number 99. We are getting to the end, folks, and we've got one more blaster to prominently feature here who appears to have frozen in our feed, so he may actually have to call back in. Apparently that commercial was just too much embarrassment. He had to, his whole picture froze, and he got booted out of our chat. So, Rob, you may want to quick bust out and go back in. But we are going to talk with a fixture of the tournament scene around here. Everyone knows Wild Rob Gill. He is a consummate local blaster, although he may not agree, but he has had quite a good year, quite a good series right now in the Commerce Hold'em series. He is currently in the top 10 of their player of the series, and he just took down the 100K guarantee last Saturday. So, welcome, Rob. I'll give him a slightly better intro in a moment when he returns, but the rest of the agenda for the show is, as usual, we will go through the results we have from Commerce from last week, and we will talk about what's coming up for pretty much the last weekend we're going to be able to report on, which includes the start of the next series. So, that's going to be exciting. All right, well, while Rob gets himself reconnected, let's take a look at some of his poker accomplishments, as we just showed the highlight of his acting career. Now, you actually get to see Rob in a lot of commercials. I think I saw him first in some Gill commercial, and Jeremy was sitting at Commerce. I think he said he saw him on TV in a Spectrum ad the other day, so Rob is quite the spokesman. If you got anything you're trying to shill, let him know, but you're going to have to pony up. But Rob also has been having quite a good couple years playing in the tournament poker scene here. He used to believe, we'll let him speak for himself, he used to grind a lot of cash lab PLO, and that shows his highest score here is actually a second place finish in last year's $600 PLO 8-handed bracelet event at the World Series, where he scored $107,000 for that second place. Derek was there railing him, I do believe. And aside from that, other really big finishes in just the last 2 years, getting second place in the Big Bounty at the LAPC this February for about 60 grand, and getting second place at also LAPC in the Remington 2, which was, I don't think that was the very last event. It was like maybe the second last event. No, maybe it was the last event. So congrats. And then, of course, as we just mentioned, more recently, I have to resort these by date, but he did just take down not only the 100K from this last Saturday at Commerce, but also the Monster Stack from the Wednesday. I think it was the Wednesday before, and those are not showing up here yet because Commerce does not yet have any of their results showing up in Hendon. So that is a little too bad. So while we are waiting for Rob to reconnect to the call, and Derek's got to keep an eye on that to let him back in, I think. Why don't we hop on in and we'll do some of the results then from last week. Unfortunately, I've got to try and remember exactly where. Oh, I remember now, because we had the winner thanks to Frank, number one field reporter, but we did not have the rest of the results from the 2 days. So why don't I start there? So, Commerce Hold'em series, the last event that we have not yet covered. Wait, these are the day ones. Let me find the day two. The 300K 2-day event from last weekend. Saturday, Sunday. Here we go. As we reported last week, the winner was Mr. John/Jake Dollinger. Congratulations, taking home the $62,000. Second place was William Shrave, who I do believe took down the 300K over at the bike. So he's just killing it in these 300K guarantees. Third place, Nikolay Zernilov. And let me just see let me go to the bottom. They usually say about chops. There is Jake. Congrats. And it was outright. There was no chop. So third place was Nikolay Zernov. Fourth place, Samvel Gospoyan. Fifth place, Thu Nguyen. Sixth place, Ateola Abedini. Seventh place, Michael Lee. Eighth place, David Van Noy. And ninth place, Kwok Lee, who just final tabled one of these 100K one-dayers recently as well. I see a couple other pretty familiar names near the top of the standings there. Let's see, Andrew Tree, Matt Salzberg, Rudy Cervantes, Michael Ung. A lot of local blasters making it to the top probably because this was just such a good structure. This was a nice structure, just like all the other events have been for the price points of the series. I did cash this thing. I felt it was a pretty disappointing finish given my stack coming in, but I finished slightly lower than middle of the pack here at 52. So that's how that went for me. Let's see here. Next event that they had that week was event number 20. They had a No Limit Hold'em nightcap. I don't believe we had the results of that. So the winner of that was Bo Moneymaker. Oh, so that's Bo Money. I never really knew the face to the name to our local moneymaker. So there we go. Getting himself a little crown, putting it on his head. Congrats to Bo. There were 79 people in this nightly nightcap. Second place was Eduardo Manin, and there was a two-way chop between the two of them for first and second. Third place was Andrew Benoob. Fourth, Edgar Gabrielian. Fifth, Fanit Polavith. Sixth, Arsenev Shumlov. 7th, Solon Chang. And 8th, Ivan Yusuf. And 9th, Chungguan Zan. Looks like we got Rob dialing back in. How you doing, Rob? Can you hear us? All right, well, we'll give him a minute. I'm going to move on to event number 21. That was the XL Bounty on Sunday. So that was a 50K guarantee. The results of that, in first place, was Philip Saravin. It looks like we had a three-way chop for this, so congratulations to Philip. And in second there, Vontre Gardner. So Mel, is it Mel or Mal? I'm never quite sure. Mel took home second in that chop. Congrats. And he got 6 bounties, so actually pretty close to getting the same money as Philip there. And third in the chop was Alan Sachs. Congrats to you three for chopping. The rest of this final table, we have Gevork Kasabian. 5th, Daryl Bell. 6th, Luis Buezo. 7th, Tony Denove. 8th, Louis Leeway, and 9th, Brian Vose. Congrats to that final table there. All right. Now, that was event 21. Let me just click this to save my spot, and we will get back to Rob. So I finished the intro. We went through Rob's Hendon Mob. We showed one of his great commercials. Welcome to the show, Rob. We finally let's let him talk before he gets disconnected again. Great to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Long-time listener, first-time caller here. I'm excited to be on the show before it ended, and yeah, thanks for having me on. Hopefully, you guys can hear me good now.
No, this is great, and now we can officially say that Rob is when we jumped the shark and had to quit the show. So
I like that. That's
perfect.
Good.
Yeah, Rob is the reason we're gonna have to quit. This is it. We can blame him. This is it. So you heard it here. All right. No.
I take full responsibility for this.
So as I was telling everyone, Rob, you are always out there grinding in these tournaments where we see all the time, but a lot of people might not know you too well. That may be a surprise to some that you are an actor and that you are definitely a working commercial actor. You're out there in the streets. Why don't you start by telling us, how long have you been out here in LA? And, I can venture a guess, but what brought you out here?
Well, yeah, definitely the commercial industry and acting brought me back to LA, but I'm originally from Thousand Oaks, California, so not very far. Yeah, I go into Commerce Casino all the time throughout college, my younger days, and the bike, all those places. And but yeah, no, I've been out here for a bit, and yeah, I've started grinding quite a bit these last few years since probably I got really back into poker around the pandemic, and then I've been grinding a lot of tournaments since then. I really caught the tournament bug. So I'm out there as much as I can on the weekends, unless, I got other events or other stuff going on. And yeah, I'm not out there every day grinding, but I'm at the tables.
Yeah, that's really cool. A lot of the folks that we've kind of really been connecting with and talking to a lot, Derek and I included, like Fausto, everyone, we really seem to have gotten into tournaments around COVID time. So that's really interesting that a lot of people got into poker, period, but all of us who were already into poker kind of decided to get into tournaments around COVID time. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I played tournaments when I was younger, and I had a little bit of success. I think I won my first tournament at an Indian casino or Native American casino when I was 18. Don't want to get canceled on the pod. So, I've been playing them, but I never got into the bigger tournaments. I went to WSOP after college and got spanked real bad. I went there with $5,000 right after college. Proceeded to lose all of that within a day or two, and then I came back home.
Shocked. This is our shocked face. Shocked.
Yeah, and actually in 2012, I did play poker. I considered playing poker professionally because I had an LAPC score, like one of the only tournaments I played. and I think I got like 23K or something like that for a score at or the LAPC. And then I grinded quite a bit that year, went to Vegas, stayed there the whole 6 weeks back when they actually used to comp you rooms.
Right.
Did okay in the sit and goes and got to play a lot of tournaments. And then I proceeded to punt all my money at the blackjack table.
Oh boy. It's tale as old as time. Yeah.
Yes. I've learned my lesson. I'm no longer in the pit.
So here we are. Yeah, I'm taking a look at your Hendon. I see that very first tournament on Hendon Mob was LAPC, getting second place for 23.8, so about 24,000 back in 2012.
I will say I got more money than the guy who got first, but I didn't get the trophy.
Back in 2012, Rob wins his 24,000 and he wants to go pro. So why don't you take us back just a little bit further than that? How did you get into poker in the first place? Did you start playing in college, before college? You played before you could legally gamble? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, well, like a lot of people, I fell in love with poker watching it on ESPN, the Chris Moneymaker days. I love the movie Rounders, one of my favorite movies growing up. Everything about that movie I loved. And I started playing started playing poker quite a bit with my friends in high school, playing little $5 tournaments around the kitchen table. That kind of developed. Pretty soon my friends didn't want to play poker with me anymore. And I started running games. I bought a poker table, or my dad bought a poker table for the house, I should say. And
did your dad play with you, or?
Occasionally, very, very, very rarely. My dad will find a pair of sixes and just go all in. Like that.
He'd fit right in. He'd fit right in down.
Yeah. So he, so I used to run games in junior college, and then I went to UC Berkeley for college, and I found a game there through a Facebook group at the International House, like my first week of college, and I started playing in that game. Then I started running a game in college, going to card clubs before I was even 21 years old. The Oaks Card Club up in Fremont area, up in San Francisco, or Oakland, I should say. So playing a lot of poker up there, but up there they had spread limit and different things like that. It was different, totally different vibes, different time. And then, 2012, after graduating from college and all that different stuff, I graduated college in 2009, played a bit, ran some games, and then 2012, I had that tournament score, and I said, hey, why don't I try playing poker professionally? Did that for quite a few months, spent 6 weeks in Vegas, got super burnt out, and then I decided to move up to the mountains and become a radio DJ. And that's what happened there.
The mountains of California, or the mountains of...
Mammoth Mountain.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm a big snowboarder skier.
Oh.
So I went up there, and up there we played poker too. I played a game with some businessmen up there every Tuesday night. We had a
Is that why you have that rock gig, that MCing gig or whatever up there in Mammoth every year? Right?
Exactly. Yeah, Mammoth Rock and Rye Whiskey Festival. Since I was a radio DJ up there, I used to host a lot of the festivals, a lot of different things up there. And then that's also where I really got into theater, started getting cast in some commercials up there, because car commercials would go up there to film all the time for the mountains, stuff like that.
Wait, so did you go to college for like acting or communication or anything like that?
Film.
For film.
Film
so
and
you did go for film.
Yeah, I was kind of double majoring in film and communications up at UC Berkeley. I only got the 1 degree in communications because I would have had to do some more foreign language stuff to get the film degree. And I had a deadline. I was managed to graduate college with no student debt, which is very lucky, but I had to do it in a certain amount of time or the money would run out.
That sounds like a movie plot. I don't know. Interesting.
It really does. Yeah. So I ended up, only getting the 1 degree. And then I pursued radio. I had a little bit of stint. Again, I got a real estate license. I worked at a mortgage office for a little while, but it was 2008, so the recession was in full swing.
Yeah.
Wasn't the best time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless you somehow can make money off all the foreclosures, no one was really buying. I gotcha. So so it sounds like you've had a pretty wide variety of jobs, just general history here. So. Now, would you describe yourself as a professional actor or a professional poker player?
Well, I list myself as both on tax form. That way I can write off my losses and write off all my expenses, right? So I consider myself more of a professional actor. That's my passion. I also just finished writing my first screenplay.
Oh, awesome.
I've been working on different stuff when it comes to, the film industry, trying to break into different avenues there. Acting is really my passion. That's so, I mean, I'll take a small acting job over a big tournament. That's just where my priorities lie. Now, do I make more money from poker than I do from acting? Last year, definitely yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at your last year. It was quite a breakout year.
Yeah. Last year was a good year. Last year was definitely, I would say last year was my breakout year where some stuff, especially when it came to poker tournaments, really started to click for me. I've always been a bit of a field player, and just learning how to shift gears in certain timings in tournaments. Once I kind of figured that out, I think that's when I really turned gears and started making a lot more deep runs.
Awesome. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that big year, right? So when you made that, would you say you kind of made that shift? Was it like success, reflection shift, or did something happen to make you make that shift and then you started seeing success?
That's a good question. I think it didn't happen all at once. You know, it's I learned from, as poker players do, I've learned from a lot of mistakes. A lot of times where I've punted quite a bit, or I asked for punt. It's funny because Derek's on this, and Derek and Fausto are two of the people I go to where I go, is this a punt? Like, I don't even know how many times I've walked up to Derek and been like, okay, so I'm in the cutoff. I've got, you know, and I start talking about stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I had 12 bigs and ace 6, and it's blind versus blind. So I think I just got to shove, right? Like, you know, how many times I've just had those conversations. So kind of just figuring out different spots, because I've never been a solver guy. I've never been, you know, I have basic understanding of GTO, and I think I understand where the solver guys come from, but I've always been a feel player. So like once I started to kind of combine more game theory with the feel stuff, as well as figuring out that there's certain times in a tournament where you rev up the aggression and there's certain times where you have to dial it back. And I used to be full on gas pedal the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
And
we've definitely can attest to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that, because I'm one of those guys that, you know, when I get a lot of chips, it's hard for me to lose sometimes. You know what I mean? If I go to a final table, typically I'm first or second in chips, and, you know, and I don't let up. That's just typically how it's been for me. But that being said, I was at a tournament the other day and I bubbled, and I said, look, I probably win more tournaments than most, but I also probably bubble way more tournaments than most, because I'm just, if I think I have a small edge, or I think that the guy has enough fold equity, like I just go for it.
Right.
And that's just always been how I do it.
That's fair.
You know? Yeah. So I've definitely punted.
Yeah. So,
long story.
But, you know, you are finding a lot of success. You are definitely figuring things out. You said you're not into solvers, even in the beginning, or maybe things have changed more recently. What do you do to try and get better? Do you do anything consciously, or do you just play and you know, talk to Derek? Like, what do you do?
Well, you know, Derek and Fausto don't give too much free advice, especially because they know they're going to have to face me at the table. So sometimes I wonder, I'm like, are these guys giving me good advice, or are they just set me up?
I'm like, you should totally shove 7 deuce cards.
Yeah. Exactly. I think what happened a lot, I got to credit watching a lot of Poker Go free videos on YouTube. During the pandemic, I just watched a lot of final tables and watching how these guys navigate it. Now, granted, a lot of times there's like ICM implications that you're not going to see during most of a tournament, as well as they're playing a lot shallower. But just looking at that and their hand selection and just different things like that, I think really helped me figure some things out when it came to, okay, what hand should I be 3-betting here? You know, I don't think the standard LA reg 3-bets enough. You know,
absolutely.
Or if they do, they don't find those hands that they can 3-bet fold. You know, where they 3-bet a hand and then they just go with it, which I think is a big mistake. So I find those hands where it's like, okay, let me like 3-bet here, but I'm also willing to fold if I have to. I don't want to, but I will make those folds when I need to. And then also there's times when I've realized like, okay, maybe this hand here, this could be a 3-bet, but maybe just situationally I should just flat here and disguise my hand strength as well. So I learned a lot from that, and also just playing more. Like I've just put in a lot more volume over the past couple of years, because before I played poker tournaments so rarely that once I started putting in the volume in poker tournaments and figuring out these different spots, that's when I think that the shift really started to come in, when I'm being like, oh, wait, Like, I don't need to play every weak ace. You know, sometimes I can just fold that. Hell, oh, I got dealt pocket threes under the gun and I'm 20 big blinds deep and there's a bunch of shove stacks behind me. Maybe I should just fold, you know, like those kind of spots.
Yeah.
Figuring that out.
It's crazy how many good players we've interviewed who've just gone to, like, I learned from Poker Go. Many people have done that. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a free resource. And I've had people ask me quite a bit of like, oh, what should I do for training or coaching and stuff like that? And I've pointed them in some different directions, but mostly I say, look, there's so much free content on YouTube. Like, just go dive into that.
Just make sure you actually watch good players and don't go watch
Don't go
watch Rampage. Don't go watch all these 100%. Other vloggers. Just watch.
Yeah, don't watch anyone who got rich off Bitcoin, basically.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like it's not only just like the hand selection, but it's like their bet sizing, and there's so many things that you can get from these good players. And then I actually just try to guess what they'll do before they do it, and then when they do something different, I'm just like, oh, why did they do that? And I would write it down and go look it up. And it's a fantastic resource.
Absolutely. And another thing that I think I do that a lot of players don't do is that I'm in every hand I'm in, and I probably annoy people at the table. Every hand I'm trying to guess what the opponent, even if I'm not even in the hand, I'm trying to guess what people have.
Oh, yeah.
Always at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I see so many guys not paying attention in these spots. And, and it's like a point of pride for me. And I probably bug people because I'm like, you had pocket sevens there, didn't you? You have pocket sevens, And so I probably bug some people doing it, but it's more, it keeps the game interesting. If I'm going to sit there for 12 hours playing a poker tournament, I'm only going to be playing in maybe 10, 20% of hands.
Come on.
You're not playing 20%.
Be honest. Yeah.
Okay. Most people are probably playing in the hands, but but I try to be involved in every hand, even if I'm not putting any chips in the pot.
I'm going to say that the PLO NL mix I was with Rob, he was like 100% BPIP on PLO for like.
Okay. That's not fair because that was the first level.
That's true.
We were super deep in the first level, and I couldn't get Derek to fold one pair in PLO.
Yeah, he put a pretty big bluff on me. It was a good spot, good board, and I was like, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm just calling, and I'm just like, why am I trying to get a Hold'em player to fold ace king and PLO?
He's like, I don't know this game, but I do know Rob is betting into me in level 1.
I have aces. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, I'm like, it's one pair, buddy. And then it was like a 6. Derek took me out on a 6 spot, and then I ended up firing multiple bullets in that tournament, and I was not happy about it.
Because that's PLO, that's your game, right?
No, I wouldn't say PLO is my game. I think I got relatively lucky that my biggest score is in PLO, and that was my first real PLO tournament. I don't know if you guys talked about the 107K.
We just mentioned that it happened. We didn't talk about it. That's funny because the person who won that mixed event, that was his first PLO tournament. Brian who took it down, that was the first time he'd play a PLO tournament.
In my tournament, the one
not the bracelet, the commerce one, the commerce one.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's like Mike Eskandari, his first PLO event he played. I was like telling him, I was like, you got to play this, you got to play this. It was a ring event or something like that this last series, and he like made a real deep run at the final table. And I said, there's something about beginner's luck in PLO.
Wasn't for me, but yeah, there is something.
Well, you were 3-betting that King Jack 9-10 double suited. It's a good hand to 3-bet. It's just not against the hand I had. I was thinking about it later. I was like, I actually like that Derek 3-bet that hand. It's because he just thought I had aces, but I had kings. So
And in the chat, Frank says, "Go Bears." Didn't know you went to Cal, so. He said also at Kelso,
yeah. Frank Lynn, fellow Cal Bear. We talked about it in the past.
Well, he forgot. Cheers.
Maybe he forgot. There was a point. I think I brought it up with him. He wore like a Cal hat. Just years ago when I first started really showing my face around the bike a lot.
So, we didn't talk too much about that because that was last year. That's old news. I did kind of want to dovetail what you were just talking about though into, you just had some. Really almost not quite back to back, but like within the span of, was it a week and a half?
10 days.
Within the span of a week and a half, you took down almost 200 person field for the monster stack, maybe like 170 or something. I think
the monster stack was like 160, something like that.
And then over 400 people for the 100K, right?
451 on the one day, yeah.
So those are pretty sizable one-day fields. And, one-day fields are, as Derek likes to mention constantly, extremely high variance, extremely highly variable. So I kind of curious if you can kind of pinpoint, or if you think you have any tips for Derek here about what is it that makes you so successful, especially in these kind of like, we talked about the bike day ones and the bike one days being really quick, and you kind of like that, right? So what is it about your game, or what is it that you do to exploit people in these shorter, faster one days, right? That someone like Derek isn't doing.
Well, I think where I've had success with the one days is, one, I'm kind of a streaky player for one. So it's like winning these tournaments kind of like back to back. That's always been kind of just how I am. Like, it's a confidence thing. I think I have I'm not a GTO player, but I think I have really good card sense, and when I have days when I'm just locked in, like I think David Van Noy came over to me on the last event I won. He's like, "Oh, you're locked in today." Like, because I had like a big stack, and I was just like, yeah, there's just certain days where just everything in my brain is just firing. Like, all my reads are on point. I know when I can get a bluff through. I know when I'm supposed to be 3-betting ace-3 suited, like those kind of days. And it's just, so I think that's, and I don't know how to give a tip or teach that, because that's and when I have a day like that, that's just like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to make the final table, and then whatever happens, so, but I think in those one days things too, it's what goes back to what I was talking about earlier about just changing gears and knowing when to ebb and flow with that, but also understanding what players are playing scared. I think that is a huge thing. The tournament I won the other Wednesday, the deep stack, there was a couple spots where I just knew a couple guys were really just holding out, just trying to make the money. One, so I was really pushing the envelope on the bubble, really building up a big stack there, but that's not that crazy. But there's another bubble that I think a lot of people don't push the envelope on enough, and that's the final table bubble, where so many people just want to make the final table, even though it's so top heavy. You're not even making that much if you just make the final table. But I'll just do some stuff there where I'm like, okay, this is where I'm going to call a 3-bet weak and then maybe bluff or something like that, just because I know this guy just wants to make the final table, like those spots, and identifying those players, I think is huge.
I'm a little surprised. I feel like you're holding out on us, because I know for a fact that you have some very strong superstitions, so you must have some big rituals or something like that, because maybe it pays to be superstitious. Yeah, you got to give Derek some tips on what to do to be luckier, because I know, like, for those of you who've been following our Instagram and watched the stories, we've taken to putting a sloth over Rob's face. Frank can no longer put a picture of Rob in the photos, because it's so superstitious that he thinks that somehow Frank's going to steal all his luck with this photo or something. I don't even know. This man literally will message you and yell at you. He'll call you up later.
I've never yelled at Frank.
Well, not like in text form, he'll
I have been like, don't.
Exactly.
Don't
yeah. So this is for someone who's talking about being locked in and just knowing when to push. Where's the luck element come in, Rob? You're so superstitious. Okay. Come on, tell us. Okay, what is up with this?
Okay, so this is weird, and I'm going to go into this. Goes into backstory with LA Poker Roundup specifically. Okay.
Okay.
So when I was at the final table of the PLO event, playing for a bracelet, right? I had 90% of the chips in play, and we go on break. And on that break, Derek hands me an LA Poker Roundup sweater.
You never told me that you correlated the two things.
I know. And he goes, you'll wear this in the winner's photo? I go, absolutely. I'll support the podcast and I'll do this. As soon as I put that sweater on my chair, the one thing I mixed up at the final table, I double the guy up like 3 times. Next thing you know, I'm the short stack. I lose the bracelet. I don't think anything of it, though. I go, oh, it's nothing. But then I come back. And I come back from Vegas and I had a great run in Vegas, right? I was out there for most of the summer. I was up quite a bit for the year and for Vegas. And I proceeded to go on like a 30K downswing. Okay. and each time, every tournament I play in, Frank starts tagging me in these photos of like, look at these players playing these events. And after every time, I'd get the notification in my phone, tag, Rob Gill's the chip leader in the bounty event at the Gardens, or something like that. I get that as soon as I got the notification, I'd get dealt ace, king, or jacks, and I would lose a flip. And it just kept happening. And it got to the point where I started getting freaked out, where I was like, okay, Frank, just don't tag me anymore because every time you tag me or say that I'm doing good or this and that, I lose a monster flip.
It's like a flat curse.
Yeah, and it became like a cursing. And I know Derek started to feel this way too. So Frank told me. Okay, so this isn't just me that's felt this way.
Oh,
so
I'm super superstitious.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm friends with you guys. This is
it's ridiculous. And then so eventually it got to the point where I dug my way out of that downswing. Okay. And this last February or something, I made a final table, and Frank's like, "Can I tag you for the final table photo?" And I said, no, put a sloth over my face or something like that, because my nickname I had in high school was Sloth. So yeah. And then I ended up winning that tournament. And then obviously I have to do that the next final table and the next final table, and it just kind of like worked out that way. But I do have some superstitions. My weirdest superstition at the poker table is that if I go to one bathroom stall on break, I'll use that same toilet every break, and I'll use the same sink to wash my hands.
I do the same thing. I actually do the same thing. I do the same thing with the toilet.
You guys,
that's crazy.
All right,
I thought I was the only one. It's like a crazy thing.
Unless I'll wait for somebody to I
will wait.
I'm just gonna hang up. You guys can just continue the show without me. This is
all right. Ty, you don't have any superstitions.
Nothing like that. Are you crazy? No.
Okay, well, you have to have something. You got a lucky hat or something?
Not really, man. Like
Colby.
Yeah, he's not lucky though. I tell people he's not lucky. He loses just as much as he wins. The thing is, he'll punch you in the face when we lose. That's all. It's not lucky. No. I will play along to have fun with something, but nothing is like this. I need this to win. You crazy?
Okay, how about this? And we were just talking about this the other day with someone. If you get all in with ace queen against pocket kings,
yeah,
you never want someone to say like, and this is more of an etiquette thing than anything. Oh, I folded an ace.
I don't care. I mean, it's
but if you have kings, don't you not want to hear that because don't you feel like they're gonna hit the ace?
I want them to hear. I would love to hear that. I would like to hear 3 people say I folded an ace. No. I'll play along. But I don't. There's no. I'm a math guy, man. As soon as you shuffle the cards, everything is as it is supposed to be.
There was 11 left in the 1K at the Commerce, and then I got it all in with jacks against Alex Farhi's aces, and I started prepaying him with the stack. And then he took his hand and he tried to shove it back at me. We were like pushing the chips back and forth, and there was a jack on the flop. Damn! And I was like, I'm so sorry. But
all right.
Have
you never gotten it in as like a 5-1 dog, 4-1 dog, and then just got it from the table and started walking away, hoping that would bring
I'm way too lazy for that. No.
Yeah. See, I know Derek's putting on his backpack. He's doing all this stuff.
I would only do that performatively. I don't believe in any of that. As far as I'll go is I think I'll sit there and I'll joke with people. Like we were talking the other day at the table, how ace jack always beats queens. 80%, 75, 90% of the time, always seeing ace jack beat queens every single time. And I will say that and rile people up. And if I get in a hand, I'll say, "Oh, he's got ace jack, I'm gonna lose." But I don't think that. I don't believe that. When it comes, I'm just gonna be like, "That just happened." But that's not. You guys are insane to let this impact your actual mood and
it doesn't impact my play. It doesn't impact my play.
It impacts your mindset though. Come on.
I actually switch my Spotify lists if it's not like I'm playing.
See, I could do that, but that's not really even luck so much as like maybe it's just putting me in the wrong state of mind, right? Like that's different. I don't think it's going to change the cards. I think it's going to change my mood, right?
Yeah. Okay, so here's how this started. When I was 21 years old, my first Vegas poker tournament, right? My dad bought me into a daily at the Venetian, like $160 daily. And I ordered a thing of chicken noodle soup right when I got to the table. And they wheeled it to the table, and I'm having so much fun. I'm so excited. I still don't really eat the soup. So now they're breaking tables, and I'm going from table to table, and I keep pushing this soup along with me, right? Each table I go to, this is like 150, 160 people in this daily. I make the final table, right? It's like my first Vegas tournament. And I've got there, and I got the soup that I ordered at 11 a.m. there. It's like now 8 o'clock at night.
Oh,
I've got the soup still wheeled with me. After that, every tournament I went to in Vegas, I ordered something and didn't eat it. I was there, and I wheeled it from table to
table. Imagine if somebody just comes and like a porter just comes and throws it away, man.
Oh my!
You would flip out. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You would flip out.
I mean, that's another
order a new one.
Superstition I have and they got I gotten into it with people at the bike about this. The floorman at the bike is they've been doing a thing lately where they've been trying to color up a lot, where they give you a rack and they say, don't take it out of. If your chips are in a rack, we're gonna color you up. Don't take it out of the rack, or we're gonna penalize you. I think I might be the reason they've started announcing if you take it out of the rack, we're going to penalize you, because I have a rule. I don't play out of the rack. But they are not fast enough about giving me the chips sometimes and then coloring me up, where I'll get back to my seat and my chips are in a rack, and now we're playing hands, and I don't want my chips in a rack while I'm playing.
I've seen multiple people take the chips back out because they don't want to be colored up, not because they don't want to play out of a rack. So I don't think that's as uncommon of a behavior, but yeah, all right.
I have a handful of superstitions, but you have a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your craziest one besides the bathroom stall, which is so weird that we share that?
That is super weird.
I thought I was alone in that.
I think, the next show.
It's like that, like
cool,
like maybe the combination of stuff that I wear. It's like that.
I have a pair of pants I'll never wear at a poker table.
Yeah, like actually, there's a couple of pairs of jeans that are completely on the ban list.
I won't wear them. I bought these sweatpants for WSOP this year, and I was like, oh, these are going to be great. They got a pocket here for my money. They got this and this. They're going to be so comfortable at the table. I got there, and I just bricked everything, and I was like, I'm burning.
Never wearing them again.
These pants will never be at a poker table. I have like 4 sweaters on rotation that I've won tournaments in that I can't.
Boy.
I do think deep down, like, I'm with Ty that I don't really think it matters. But I still just kind of follow whatever rituals I have anyway.
Look, it's fun, but like, to get mad about it.
Actually, so the biggest one, actually, I didn't even think about it. It was me every time I told people in our like group chat that I was running good.
Yeah, that was.
I would run like hell. So then I stopped, and then I didn't want anybody else to say anything. And then Frank actually hexed me, because he was like, oh, Derek's probably got piles at the World Series. And then after that, I went on this ridiculous, it's actually a downswing that's still going on right now.
Well,
so it's pretty bad.
The problem is Derek will tell us bad beat stories over and over and over again in increasingly larger fonts. And he doesn't give us any context. The last one might have been for like 4 big blinds against someone, and Derek might have 100 big blinds, and he's still so mad. Like, he'll be sitting over there and he'll be so pissed off, like, this guy, I can't believe how good he's running. He just rejammed with middle pair on me with nothing, and he wrecked my kings. And then I look over there and he's still the chip leader at his table, and we're like, why are you so mad?
You know what? That one time, he's talking about one time, and he's trying to extrapolate to many, but he literally like looked over after I just won a big pot.
Anytime you're still alive after you tell a big angry bad beat story is one too many. I don't want to hear your bad beat story unless you're out.
What I'm really wondering is how many times I'm in that group chat giving one of you guys. He's talking about.
I haven't played with you that much last year. I don't think it's kind of weird.
We haven't played a ton. Derek and I have played a good amount together. I feel like.
Yeah, actually, it's weird. We've been on a lot of.
There's a couple people I've been playing a lot with this year, and the group chat knows about it. But I haven't been playing with you as much. I wish I was playing with you more.
I felt like me and you.
Yeah, in like right after.
Good luck charm for a little while.
Right after COVID, like in 23 or so, like around then. Yeah. Well, no, you started that because you just kept seeing me win big pots, so I went with it. But
yeah.
All right. I can't talk about this anymore. You guys are just making everyone you're giving everyone a neurosis. All right. So still talking about these 2 wins though. You are in the running for the Player of the Series now,
which is crazy because I only have 2 cashes. They just both happen to be wins.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's reasonable. I mean, having 2 first places should definitely get you pretty high in the standings. We actually have breaking news from Mr. Jeremy Hamey. He managed to divine the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, top 7 or so here for the Player of the Series right now. So currently Andrew Benoob is on top, followed by Jake Dollinger, then Jinwoo Kim, Eddie Mannon, Chan Yi Mu, and then you, and then Beth right after you. So
I'm like 6.
It looks that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think you're 6th.
I mean, that just I was on the fence about playing tomorrow or not. Now I'm gonna have to go play.
Let me convince you otherwise. Then, because you are in 6th place, you have. Let's see. So you got. How many ways did you chop the monster stack? 9.
No, we chopped that 6 ways.
6 ways.
But
okay, so you get 3rd place points for 150-ish people, right? So that's like 17, 18 points or something, less than 20. And then for the 400, that was a 9-way chop?
No,
How
no,
many?
we chopped that 4 ways.
That was also 4-way? Okay, and that was 400.
No, the one was 6, one was 4 ways. I have a rule with chopping where I have to get significantly more money than second place is the only way I'll chop.
Okay. So, but you chopped that one 4 or 6 ways, 4 ways. Okay, so that would get you let's see, 28 points. So you currently have 20. You have like some probably like in the 40s of points, like around 40
Yeah, I
points.
think so. Steve, who does the payouts there late at night, he ran it for me after I won on Saturday,
Yep.
and I think I have probably like about 46 points
Yeah.
or something. He says I probably lost about 4 points for the chops.
Right. So that puts you into 6th place. But let me just convince you not to play. The winner up. So the 500K. You know the way the point system works, right?
I know.
Yep.
From what I've heard
Yep.
is basically if you win the 500K, you pretty much got a lot.
So the
If
way
you have like any other points,
exactly the way that it
But
works.
I do plan on winning that 500K.
Right. Well, I'm just saying that's all you're going to need from here on out. So
Yeah.
unless Mr. Danube or whoever gets like 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, you're going to be fine.
Okay.
So the way it works is for every event except for the main event and the 1K on that Sunday, you get 20% of the points of those 2 events. Every other event's worth 20% as made points. So
Which I mean, let me just say, I love that they're doing a player of the series.
Yes.
I think that's awesome.
And
I think that's great, but the way that they're doing the point system for it doesn't make much sense to me because it should reward the person who's there every day grinding, not like the guy who comes in on 2 weekends as like a deep run in one event and then wins the main or something like that, because that's all it's going to take. It defeats the purpose of the players of the series to me.
Yep, and that's what I've been trying to get across, hammering it home every week. I love that they're adding money for this. This is not
great.
100%, and do whatever you want. It's free money. But it's just so weird to call it the player of the series when it's really just who wins this.
Well, I think, and that goes back to Kevin, who's a great tournament director. Probably best in LA, probably, right? Let's just say what
absolutely.
it is.
Yeah.
But he has such a top-heavy philosophy. With paying 10% of the fields, with all the money being directly up top, even with this player of the series. And I get that, but most people aren't going to make money off that, and I don't know if that's. I mean, it's great for attracting people to the game because they see the big money up top. But at the same time, those people that are attracted to the game, are they going to be able to stick around? Because in the long term, those people are going to be losing money.
Yeah, and it's funny because in my mind, I think it's an extremely rec-centric strategy because you're simply appealing to the dream, and the people who aren't expecting to win money anyways aren't going to win money. And I think it honestly hurts people like you and us more, the people who are going to finish in the middle a little more often, to be honest, because the rec doesn't care if he loses money and he loves winning first place, and he'll come and he'll show up. We are going to finish in the middle more often, and if we don't make any money, we're the ones that are getting drained more and more and more, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I'm not like, I tell people a lot, like it's good for me in a lot of ways because I'm not much of a min casher. Yep. Like typically if I cash, like I do run deep a lot. Like that's, and so it's like, I'm good with that. But the thing is that the payouts are so flat till you get to the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
That's where it's really tough.
Yeah.
Because like even WSOP, I remember there was an 1100 ring event last year, and I came in day 2 as like a monster chip leader. And then day 2, I was basically dealt out all day. And this is like a 400 or something person field. And I got like 13th, and I basically like tripled my buy-in.
Yeah. Because the World Series also catering heavily to the rec dream, right? Their audience is attracting more recs, right?
But what I will say about that is that the WSOP isn't nearly top heavy percentage wise as the Commerce is right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So look at like where I had the $600.
Well, the other Saturday it was 26% went to first place. 25.7%. I did the math.
That's insane. Because and typically WSOP it would be like 15 to 17% or something like that. I'll go to first.
Yeah.
But even I looked at it the other day. So on Saturday, 4th place was 9K. And first place was 38K.
Right.
Okay. That is such a huge difference. And even 3rd place being 13K. So now 3rd place being 13K and 1st place being 38K, that's like 2.9 or something to 1. Yeah. Right. So then you look at WSOP and they're usually more like 2.07 to 1 when it comes to 3rd place and 1st place. So it's so much higher that I get to that point and I go, yeah, I have an advantage over these guys, maybe. But the blinds are really high. We're playing shorthanded. Anything could happen. I could go from chip leader to out in 2 hands. So if from a financial perspective, it just makes sense for me to chop.
Yep.
If I'm going to get more money than second place, if I can chop four-handed, if I can chop six-handed and just lock up more money than second place, that's like, I mean, because even if you get heads up, I've been heads up with 90% of the chips and lost a couple times just because I ran bad heads up. So I'm going to, make the smart financial decision to chop. Just be, maybe that means I'm a coward and I don't have that gamble in me. I don't know, but it's just like, it makes sense.
No, monetarily and kind of like smoothing out variance wise, it definitely does make sense. And these payouts are they're built to encourage chops, honestly, right? Because I mean, what sane person, if you're playing a winner take all tournament when they got down to that final table, what sane people wouldn't be like, maybe we should chop or change the payouts, right?
Well, some people don't, and I respect that.
Yeah.
And I'm always the guy. I go, hey, you want to play it out? We can play it out. But I'll tell you this: if I'm short and you're a big stack, and you tell me you want to play it out, and now I'm the big stack, and you ask me to do a chop,
Oh yeah,
happen.
Yep.
Ain't gonna happen. I so many times when the momentum has changed, I've been like, I gave you the opportunity to chop, and you didn't.
People shouldn't do that. People definitely shouldn't.
Yeah, it's just the same thing as people who they'll only chop the blinds when they're the small blind, but never whatever, who are situationally choppers or whatever. It's like, no, you don't get to situationally chop.
All or none.
We make the decision before then, right?
Now I have a question for you guys. Do you situationally pay the bubble or not?
I almost, like, my answer is always no, but I won't say no if everyone says yes.
That's kind of my thing, because I was playing with the guy the other day. We were on the bubble of a tournament, and he goes, I never. I did 2 times, and I was like, and I love that they were the ones saying no, because I had the big chip lead and I was chipping up even more on the bubble. But there was times when I have the chip lead on the bubble and I've been like, I don't want to pay the bubble. And then the other day I stone cold bubbled the tournament and I had like 9 bigs and I wanted the bubble to be paid. And one guy said no. And I was like, screw that guy. And I'm like, well, I kind of have been that guy.
Yeah. No, I try not to. I try to have in my mind, if I feel like paying this tournament's bubble well before we get there. And for me, it's more like a function of how turbo is this tournament, how many people are there, how likely is this going to be one hand, how likely is this going to be, could this be like a whole level? Because the thing that I hate about the bubble is just when it eats up more than a level worth of time. And I'm like, okay, I think any money I would have won abusing the bubble, I think that's probably negated by the fact that we just lost a level and a half or 2 levels trying to get through the bubble. So that's kind of what I try to gauge, and I try to gauge that before I get to the bubble. Now, there's an exception. I talked about it the other day. Here is one of the days I'm just like, let's just pay the bubble and keep playing where it's really fast. If I see someone else looking like they're trying to do what you're talking about, like do something situational, try and eke out extra advantage, do whatever, I'm just going to try and say, screw you. I don't know whatever is worse for you. I'm just doing that. I don't care. So that's.
No, I get it. I'm like Derek though. Most of the time, I just don't want to be the one guy to say no, because I feel like the poker gods punish the one guy who says no.
Yeah, see, that's because you guys are luck based. I have no problem saying no if I'm the one saying no. In fact, when it gets close to the bubble, if I was going to say no when we get near, I'll just tell the floor, we're not. There's no bubble. Just make us play.
I know is actually because I've been bubble bully, not being the big stack before.
Yeah,
like I've
for
been
sure.
Bubble bully as like bottom.
You and I, the 3 of us, benefit from bubbles more than most people in the pool for sure.
Absolutely.
So because of that, I'm just like
I'm
never going to say yes. I'm never going to vote yes because I could just abuse the bubble at any time.
Absolutely. And there's nothing better than when you have a big stack at your table that doesn't understand that.
Right.
Yeah.
I want
you get to be that with when when you're like second or third in chips at your table and you get to be the bully.
And everyone else is being double careful because they're like.
But I mean, like, the point is though, just because I can bully the bubble at any time, I don't want to be that guy that's situationally like okay or not okay, right? So if I'm just like not okay with it all the time, then I'm just not okay with it all the time.
Yeah.
Even though I have one big blind, I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Like, just
no, I know. And typically, I'm a not pay the bubble guy, but I'm just not going to be the one to say it. And it just also depends on the tournament too. If we're got 45 players, and we're one away from the money, that's different than if we're 16 players, on the bubble too. It's just like
absolutely.
It's about time.
In a small tournament, I definitely say no. If it's like if the money's going to be like the final, if we're at the final table, then we're not paying the bubble in this. If it's 6 people cash, we're not paying the bubble.
but the reason I was like, oh, maybe we should pay the bubble more in these Commerce Hold'em series events is the structure so good is that you're not even getting to the bubble till 10 hours of play.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me. For me, in a tournament, especially a one-day tournament, I want to be in the money around 8 hours. But the structure's so good, I get it. And it's like, it's the plus and minus of a good structure.
And the
right?
counter to that, though, is if you late reg, you still get your 8 hours to the money. And
I do late reg, but yeah.
Well, it's closer to the money then, because when Derek and I get there right from the beginning, that's a big long time to the money.
It's a very long day.
But if you get there late,
that's why I can't do it. The other day I bubbled, and I was like, oh my god, like, I was like, what if I started this at 10:30, and I'm never going to show up at a poker tournament at 10:30? That right now.
Nope.
Unless it's like day 2 of something.
For sure, trying to get things quicker. And as we're pointing out, there's lots of reasons to pay or not pay a bubble. Like I said, for me, it has a lot to do with the size of the tournament, and it has a lot to do with the speed of the tournament. I think that the same thing with the structures. I love that the structure is so much better, but I do agree with you. I think that a tournament structure could be even better, right? Like, I don't mind it being slightly fast in the beginning, especially here in LA where we get lots of chips, but give us the time back later, right? Give us the time back once we're in the money. Let us turbo all the way to the bubble. Sure. Then once we're in the money, slow it down, then start. We lost everyone. It's me.
Well after midnight, so.
Hey, sorry, guys.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
Well, the problem was, I'm the one running the stream, so.
Oh, we lost the stream.
Yeah,
we lost the stream.
Problem is we lost the stream. So those of you in the chat, if you're still there, if we're back, let us know if we're back. I apologize. My internet, my modem's been resetting quite a bit lately. I don't know if you're let me see. It actually looks like. Are we still live? Yeah, someone in
I think the stream is saying no data, so not yet.
The stream is stopped. All right, so see if it comes back. It might be back. Yep. So if anybody out there has, I think it's like AT&T fiber or something, if your modem's been resetting a lot on you lately, you'll understand. Do not know what has been going on.
Tech issues today. Tech issues.
Yeah, I know, right? It's clearly this is all Rob's fault.
It's I take full blame. I actually I had to disconnect from my internet to do this and do it off a hotspot off my cell phone.
98 episodes, and my modem has never picked during an episode to reset.
Wow.
Rob comes on. This is what happens. Okay.
This is the kind of luck I talk about, though, Ty. This is why I am superstitious.
All right. Well, then you're just trying to convince us to stay away from you during the event. All right, I got you.
Yeah, it's the LAPRY.
We just don't mix. We just don't mix. All right, guys.
It's funny because I'll wear my LA Poker Roundup sweater all the time around my house, around LA, but you won't catch me wearing that at a poker tournament anymore because every time I wore it, I just ran like dog doo-doo.
See, now look, hopefully, Derek, I'm not on the other chats. Has Frank or anybody said that they've been able to see us, that we are in fact on? Or are you watching the stream live?
So right now it says you lost your network connection, trying to reconnect. So it's live, but it's not showing anything.
Dang. Let me see. Start recording. I've never tried to reconnect live. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you might. So actually, if you
maybe we just start a second stream.
Well, I think if you disconnect your OBS, stop on OBS and reconnect in OBS, that's okay because the stream doesn't